Hello and welcome to the Downsized Dish. My name is Laraine Durham, and this is our weekly series where we talk to people who are on a GLP-1 journey using medicines like Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, Mounjaro, tirzepatide, and Semaglutide. I'm your host, Laraine Durham. This is the Downsize. So, welcome. Before we get started, I'd just like to say that we're not doctors. This is not medical advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only. Please always consult your doctor before starting any weight loss journey or exercise journey. Okay, got that all out of the way. And today we'd like to welcome Tina, also known as Crump 133. Welcome, Tina. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. Tina, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am 54, just turned 54 in February. I am a solid 5'4". Wish I was 5'5", but solid 5'4". Anyway, I've been pretty much, all my life. I can't really say all my life. I felt like I struggled with my weight for the majority of my life. I was rummaging through some pictures, just some old pictures of high school and stuff like that. And I was a fairly normal weight. I mean, it was heavier than most of the other girls in the school, maybe by 10, 20 ish pounds, but not like severely. I wouldn't say where someone would I would stick out like a sore thumb, but I always felt heavy. I always felt in my mind, that I was heavier than folks. And my friends and stuff like that. And then as I got, out of high school and into college and then into, just general life, it seemed as if I blinked and all of a sudden I was like, 180 when I graduated high school. And then all of a sudden I was 250, and it's like it happened in like a blink to me in my mind, like a blink of an eye. And the funny thing is that at some point in time, I thought, "Are my clothes shrinking?" I need to stop drying my clothes or something,
Right, right.
And
I've done that.
your mind doesn't, like, catch up to looking yourself in the mirror and say, "No, it's not your clothes shrinking, it's you getting bigger."
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with any of that, but, you know finally, there was a time where I just, like, opened my eyes and I was just like, "Wow," I mean, I really need to do something, and, through the years, it just kind of you just get complacent. You really do. You just kinda get complacent, and, I struggled throughout the years, with that, but anyway, long and short is, I've kind of struggled with weight loss, my entire life, and, I got serious with it at a certain point in time and then, did well, and then again, got complacent, and then gained some weight. So it's that back and forth. Like you said, you've done almost all the diets. I've done Nutrisystem. I never really did a whole lot of. I don't know if I really did Weight Watchers, but I did like Nutrisystem, and I did, the different types of keto and it just the other different types of diets to try
Yeah.
to manage my weight. But you know, it just has been a struggle for the
Mhm,
most part my entire life.
mhm.
And as far as what I do, I don't have a very active job. I sit at the desk. I work for a bank. I've been working there for 32 years.
Oh, wow.
In the back, yeah, I've been in the back end of the banking industry, so I'm not like a teller or anything where you would see. So I do really sedentary work. So it's nothing that's going to make me active. So that
Yeah,
didn't help in this journey either. So and
yeah,
of COVID didn't help either. So it's kind of like me in a nutshell, of kind of how I got to where I'm at today.
mhm.
Obviously, there's a lot of different stories between high school and now that we can go into a little bit more deeper, but just as a high level, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
So I know we talked, before about you had was it gastric bypass at one point?
I had the gastric sleeve, so there's no
Gastric
bypass.
okay.
So it was the sleeve where they just, take your stomach and
Mhm.
they cut, 85% of your stomach away, kinda gives your stomach the shape of kinda like a banana,
Yeah.
and that helped, that did, and I did that back in 2012.
Okay.
I think I was, just at that point in life where I was like, I've tried diets, there's a lot of things that I've tried that it just didn't seem to help help give me any direction. It didn't help, give me that boost
Yeah.
uh that those results that would help me continue forward. So I'm like, what are my options at this point? And I
Oh,
did a lot of research. I'm someone who researches a lot of stuff. So I did a lot of research on all the different surgeries that were available for weight loss. And I just didn't feel that I wanted to do anything that was as invasive as moving digestive systems around. You know what I mean? Where
yeah,
move you kind of take a portion of your intestines and you move your stomach down to there, and you know what I mean. You kind of cut a portion off of your intestine, and that could be an option too if option one didn't work. So I always knew that if I did this, I could do that. But it did well, actually. Quite
yeah.
honestly,
How
I
much
did.
did you lose with the sleep?
I started out. My highest weight was that I know of is 320, and I was just like shocked. When
Mhm,
I saw that number, I was just like, wow, because I just didn't want to get on the scale. And back then, I mean, this was back in 2000 when I started truly looking into that. It was 2011,
mhm,
2010, 11 timeframe. You had to go through a process anyway before you got approved. So, I was 320. I had the surgery. It worked very well for me. It curbed my appetite. It took my at that time I didn't know what it was, but my food noise away. Didn't know what
yeah,
food noise was, but it took that constant thinking of food, and I just wasn't very hungry, and I was able to just, eat small meals
yeah,
and be okay and feel okay. I didn't go through a lot of what some people have when they have bariatric surgery, like loss of hair or, nutrient issue, lack of nutrients. I made sure that I took bariatric, vitamins and supplements that were specific for bariatric surgeries. So I mean, I did do that. But my lowest weight that I got to at that point was 204, which wasn't really where I needed to be, but it was a good amount of weight that I lost from
yeah.
320 to 204. I felt
I think we have a picture. Christopher, can you put up
yeah,
the picture? Sorry to cut you off there.
yeah, no,
I
no, it's
wanna put
okay.
the picture up. So, this was before the gastric sleeve, and then well,
And that's
actually,
today.
that's today.
That's today. I've not taken any pictures of myself. I was
Oh,
gonna take
okay.
some pictures, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take some pictures so I can have it before. I mean, I can't just put a bunch of after pictures in it or before pictures in. I gotta at least have my progress. So
Yeah.
but anyway, yes, that was, I was at my niece's birthday party. We were at the park, and, it's just that's just to me, it's just a blob. That's what I look like, just a blob. Um,
Yeah.
but and there's several other pictures that show my before picture, and this is all before the surgery. And I really do felt I felt that I did very well with the surgery.
Mhm.
I lost focus. I lost focus for several reasons. You know, one, life gets in the way to some extent, and it was my fault that I let life get in the way. I started dating, and when you start dating, it kind of throws things into a whirlwind sometimes because it then changes your focus on weight loss and your health, and you now have a split focus, and you're split focused. So it's like, okay, and they tell you that all the time. They say, when you go through when you're in a weight loss journey, you should really just focus until you get to your goal, and then start like, you know, bringing other interests in, and I was too excited to
Yeah.
not bring other interests
Well,
interests in.
you wanna live your life, right? I
Yeah,
think I have some of those other pictures too, we can show. You wanna live your
yeah.
yeah, so
So these 2 pictures are after my surgery, but after I've gained a lot of the weight back. So the one that's a 333 on it, that one was in 2020.
mhm,
And then the one there, with the lay, I was in Hawaii, and that was in 2021. So I had gained a lot of that weight back. So the weight that I've lost on the surgery, I got to 204, and right now I'm 218. So I'm to just to show what the relevance is, that picture of me now today, I was thinner, after my surgery than what I am today. So,
mhm,
that shows you how much weight that I had gained back. I when I started doing, in August of 2024, I started with, uh, Zepbound, and started this journey with the
mhm,
GLP-1, and at that point, I was 306. So
okay,
I didn't quite make it back to 320, but I made it close enough to where I said, "I cannot keep going forward, I have to make another change."
Yeah.
And, that's what I, chose to do. So, I pretty much for all intents and purposes, I pretty much gained the weight back, for
Yeah.
the most part.
So you started in August of 24, and now have you lost almost 100 pounds in 6 months? Am I calculating that?
88. I am at
88.
88 pounds today.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was a very good responder with the surgery, and I think I was talking to Barb, and Barb had said something about those that were very good responders for bariatric surgery are also they find that they're very good responders with GLP-1s as
Huh.
well.
Interesting.
So, I didn't look that up on how valid that is, but, she's pretty knowledgeable and in everything. Believe me, her journey that she's been through has been amazing.
Yeah.
Um, I'm averaging right I have a spreadsheet right up there. Um, I am averaging right now 2.4 pounds a week.
Wow.
I've lost, 28.6% of my body weight from start.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
at 50 I my goal is gonna I don't know what my goal is, but the goal that I put for myself was to have a normal BMI, which would get me at 145. You know what I
Okay.
mean? If I
Yeah.
was at 145, that would put my BMI at 25, which is a normal BMI. If I get to that point, then I'm at 54.75% towards or, from that goal or towards that goal, should I say. So I'm a
Yeah.
little over halfway to the goal.
Wow. I mean, that is definitely, a great response to the medicine for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, to over, the normal or not normal, but the average weight loss on these GLP-1 meds is between a half a pound and 2 pounds a week. So you're well, beyond that. Have you had you can take those pictures away, Christopher. Um, Chris, he's doing something else at the same time. Uh, did you have any, like, stalls? I mean, this it seemed to go or have you just pretty much lost every month, every week?
It has been almost pretty steady.
Mhm.
I have on my spreadsheet, what I have, the 2 weeks, I had 2 weeks that I like 3 weeks ago I'm sorry, no, it wasn't 3 weeks ago. It was about a month ago, I lost point 0.8
Uh-huh.
1 week, and, I think that's the lowest. No, I actually early on, I had a no loss. I gained point 0.4.
Oh,
That was on week 4. So
okay.
I was just doing the 2.5. I was still in the 2.5.
Yeah,
And that first month, I lost 8.2 pounds on the first month on 2.5.
that's a good
And
loss.
yeah, yeah. And then I moved up to 5.
Uh-huh.
And I did 1 week of 5. And then when did the 1 week of 5, I was at 2.6 pounds that week.
Okay.
And then I decided that I wanted to the strange thing, and I hear this all the time, when I read people's, blogs and comments on different forums, I would see this and I relate to it because they're like, "Okay, I just finished my 2.5, I'm going to 5," and they're like, "Man, I find myself really hungry after a couple days on 5," and I didn't find that on 2.5 at all.
Hmm.
But my first week on 5, I really felt really, really hungry, and it got me nervous
Mm.
because it was so close. It was so soon into my
So
goal or
early.
into my journey, and I was
Yeah.
like I was doubting. I remember being on your first live, watching y'all
And
guys, early on because like I said, I research a lot, and I found y'all guys early on, and I was on one of your lives or, listening to it, and I commented to say, "I'm new, this is my first time," and, I'm, just you're and everyone was giving me encouragement on, "It'll work, don't worry, it'll, keep going, and I was just I'm so hesitant until I see progress, I just feel very hesitant.
yeah.
So, when I got that 5, when I did the 5 and it was, I was getting hungry, I'm like, "Oh, no, this isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work. It's not gonna work." So I started doing more research and I came across how some folks were splitting their dose. So
Mhm.
I've been kind of splitting my dose since week 5.
Oh,
So that's 4. Since week 5 to now,
uh-huh.
I've done and I think that has helped me with my consistent weight loss, and keeping the weight loss as consistently I guess even at the higher
Mm.
level,
So
just because
talk
of that.
about how much, medicine you take per how many days, so people will understand splitting the dose, I guess.
Yeah. So at 5, what I decided to do was just cut it in half. So at that point, I cut it in half. So I was doing 2.5 on, and I decided to do on Sunday. My normal day when I first started, it was a Thursday, is when I was taking
Mhm.
it because I wanted it to be in full effect for the weekend.
Right.
I knew the weekend was going to be my worst because during the
Mhm.
week, I'm pretty regiment on what I do. I
Yeah.
just wanted it to be full effect. I didn't want to take it Friday because I wanted Friday night to be in effect. So I took it Thursday. Um, so, uh, so then when I decided to split the dose, I switched it to, um, Wednesday and Sunday. So I take it Sunday morning and then Wednesday evening. So that gives me 3.5 days
Okay.
between the 2. So it really just it cuts the week completely in half. So I started taking 2.5 and 2.5, just splitting my 5.
Yeah.
And it was working. It was working great. And then in the process of um doing additional research and stuff with what I found other people doing,
Mhm.
and what had worked for them, I also came across, you don't always have to titrate up, just, if it's working, keep doing it. And I knew I
Yeah.
had a lot of weight to lose. I was anticipating 160 pounds at the very beginning. That's what I was wanting to lose because my 80-pound mark was kind of like my halfway point. So in my mind, now again, I might feel completely fine at 150 versus going all the way to 145 or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's still kind of a movable target,
Yeah.
but right now that's kind of my focus. But I was thinking I had such a large amount to lose. I just didn't want it to not. I didn't want it to stop working. So I'm
Well,
like,
yeah. You wanted to move up as slow as possible just to maximize your weight loss on each dose, which I think you're
yeah,
definitely doing.
yeah. So as I was doing 2.5, I just kept doing I did
Yeah.
2.5 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. I
Mhm.
did the half and half 2.5, and then I went ahead and as I started feeling a little bit more hungry and seeing that, I could go up, I would start going up by either a half a dose each time. So that was one full dose a week or
Mhm.
one dose. And that would be 2 doses or 2 units when I say dose, 2 milligrams a week. So right now I'm at 4 milligrams each dose. So it's 8 milligrams and I'm on week this week is I'm ending week 36.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
So
so you do 4 on Sunday and 4 milligrams on Wednesday.
Mhm. Yep.
So you really haven't moved. I mean, that's incredible progress. I mean, that's you're definitely, in that high responder class for sure. So, so how many weeks have you been doing the 4 and 4? Probably about 12 weeks, 20
I've
weeks,
been
something
doing
like that?
4 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10.
Yeah.
So for
So
10 weeks.
yeah, so I guess, and you're just gonna keep going with that until you slow down
Well,
or what you thought?
I think I think I might drop down. And the reason why I might drop down is because I find myself very disinterested in food.
Oh, it's working too well.
I think it's working too much.
Yeah.
So I'll sit down for dinner and eat 2 or 3, maybe 4 bites, and I
Oh,
just get disinterested. So it's not like I get
oh,
nauseous. It's not
yeah.
like I get, it's not like I always have a full feeling. I
Huh.
just look at the food and say, "I just don't want any more food," you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So, I focus my attention on protein because that's the most
right?
important. So,
Yeah.
what I've been doing because I've been so because I get so easily disinterested when I have a meal is I've been
Mhm.
doing focusing on what I can do throughout the day in smaller portions.
Oh,
So for instance, I'll have some cottage cheese. I know you don't like cottage
mhm.
cheese, but I'd have some cottage cheese, um, or I'll have some. I like pickled eggs, so I boil eggs and I
Alright.
pickle eggs. So I'll take a boiled pickled egg and eat a pickled egg, or
Right.
I'll have like bone broth. I'll
Okay.
um, I'll heat up some bone broth because I'm also finding myself disinterested in even drinking. And
Um,
then this is just recently happening, by the way.
huh.
I wasn't this disinterested in food, I would say in the last month, even though I've not changed my dosage, in
Yeah.
the last month, I've been finding myself very just not interested in eating. And,
Mm,
um, and again, it's not like it makes me sick because it doesn't. I don't get nauseous.
right,
Um,
you just aren't you just,
yeah,
and that's I mean, a lot of people report that. I certainly had that feeling, like, month 1, maybe month 2, but now you're 6, 7 months in. Yeah, maybe your dose is too high is what
yeah,
I would think.
yeah,
So, yeah. And drinking too, the medicine can also suppress your thirst.
yeah.
So we have to, remember to carry our cups around and keep drinking. Do you find it's easier to to make yourself drink? Can you drink stuff as opposed to eat?
Yeah, I have no problem. I've never had a problem where, or I have not come across a situation to where when I go to drink, I'm like, ugh, I don't want it. No,
Yeah.
I can drink. It's just remembering to do it because my body is not telling me I need it. Although my body needs it. I feel I can tell just you can tell different ways, obviously as you go to the bathroom, you can tell how yellow and all of this stuff. You can tell if you're a little bit dehydrated. I
Yeah.
feel that at times I am, although
Mm,
my body isn't telling me I need to drink.
mhm.
So you kind of have to do it. So I
Yeah.
figured these are conscious choices or conscious things I need to start doing for myself. Just
Yes.
one to make sure that I don't get myself down a rabbit hole, to where, my body's suffering for something
Yeah.
and, I wanna keep my nutrients up, because I do take supplements and, I take like I'm big on, taking a probiotic. I take a daily vitamin, gummy vitamin. I take, uh, uh, normal stuff for my joints, because being 320 pounds, my knees were shot. I mean, my doctors have looked at my knees and they wanted to do knee replacement, but they wouldn't
Wow.
touch me until my BMI, was below 40 or was below I think they told me 45. And now I'm like 38, but they magically feel great. My
Well,
knees
that's
are not
good.
a problem. I
Yeah.
still don't have yeah, I still have
Yeah.
cartilage, but they don't hurt.
Do you track your calories? Are you looking at that at all?
I don't, and a friend it's so funny because a friend of mine was over this weekend. She just started, doing keto,
Mhm.
and she wanted to start tracking her calories because I did keto for a long time and tracked everything. I weighed everything. I mean, if
Yeah.
it went in my mouth, I weighed it, I tracked it. I mean, even in my vitamins, I tracked,
Okay. Yeah.
everything. So, I don't do that now because I just know I'm not going overboard. Um, but it would show how underboard I'm going.
Well, yeah, you have to make sure you're eating enough, right? Because at some point, your body will stop losing if it's not getting enough. So,
Exactly.
yeah, and I hate tracking, so I've been traumatized. I used to weigh and measure and track and all that too, and I was just like, it's just so it's kinda triggering, right? It's just a focus on
It
food
is.
that I don't wanna have, but you have to, you still need that nutrition for your body, so you
Yeah.
might wanna,
Yes,
track that.
I agree with you on that one because it is I am more conscious of it now in the last 4 weeks because of my just all of it, like I said, a sudden just non-interest in food.
Yeah.
Um I'm trying to think what can I do differently to one where I'd like to be able to enjoy a meal, have a meal because I'm putting appropriate sizes. And even though I'm putting appropriate sizes, because before I wasn't
Yeah.
putting appropriate sizes and I'm like, I'd eat, and that's it. But now I'm putting appropriate sizes, but it's still taking me 2 meals to eat. Like an example, Factor. I used to do Factor back in the day. I
Yeah.
mean, the sizes of Factor meals.
Yeah.
I can't eat a Factor meal in one shot. It's too much for me.
And I
Um,
think the factor meals I've seen that we get are between maybe 500, 600 calories. I mean, it's like a dinner, it's
yeah,
like like 30, 40 grams of protein, like a piece of chicken, maybe some mashed potatoes and some broccoli or so.
right,
It's not a lot, but it's more than like a lean cuisine.
right.
Those lean cuisine tiny little things.
Exactly.
So I mean, yeah, I mean
That's
that's
2
a
meals
good
for me.
judge. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have them for lunch, and then I'll have the rest of it for dinner.
Yeah.
And that's my meal. Those are my meals for the day.
Yeah.
outside of what I do for breakfast. I usually try to do a Fairlife 30 gram protein drink
Yeah.
because I can drink. I don't have a problem drinking stuff, so that's why I decided. I said, let me do let me do what I know I can do right now until I can kind of get this because I really, like I said, I really would like to have a little bit more of an appetite.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing well, and like I said, other than the last like 4 weeks or so, I didn't have this, where I would take a couple bites and be done and just not want to eat anymore. Um, and I was still doing well back then too. So I just would like to kind of maybe drop it maybe a half so instead of taking 4, taking 3.5,
Yeah. I was thinking
or
3 maybe,
3.
but yeah, I mean, you could really, dial it in, and you're so good at tracking your,
Right,
on your spreadsheet, you could really, like, see where you kinda feel the best, and that might change too as time
right.
goes on, um, but yeah, it's nice to have that control over the amount.
Exactly. I love the control factor, because, I mean, like we've all said, we're not doctors, but we know
Right,
our bodies. We
right,
know our bodies. I know what's good for me, what works for me. I don't know what's gonna work for you. I don't know what's gonna
right.
work for your neighbor or whoever else, but knowing what works for me and knowing when I feel like if I feel off, I'll know that I feel off and that maybe this wasn't the direction or maybe it was the right direction depending on how I feel. But and my doctor, I love my doctor. I don't know. I just hope my doctor doesn't ever go anywhere. I can text her at any point in time and she'll text me back and
Oh,
she'll
wow.
fill prescription. Oh yeah, she is so good. And I just had an appointment with her 2 weeks ago. She took all my blood work. Although my cholesterol and all that stuff for some reason got lost somewhere, so we'll probably have to
Oh,
redo that one again.
oh, no.
I know I was interested in that one, but all my other blood work came back. I'm, like, in line with everything. I'm able to no longer take my blood pressure medicine because I was getting dizzy and lightheaded and stuff like that, so I'm completely
Yeah,
off of blood pressure medicine. The only prescription medicine I'm on is really for my knees for the, uh just for, inflammation
mhm,
in my to kinda help with the pain in my knees,
yeah,
and that I probably won't even continue to take. I'm just kinda holding off on that one because 'cause I'm afraid if I don't take it, because I really truly don't have cartilage in my knees.
mhm,
So,
yeah,
I don't wanna go down the route to where if I stop taking that, then I'm gonna now have knee pain because like, right now, I just don't have any, and
yeah.
I'm sure it's the medication as well as, 88 pounds down.
Yeah, that definitely helped. A lot of people talk about, they feel the inflammation, getting better or leaving their body. With your knees, I guess your pain has gone away, but how do you can you I mean, what do you feel about inflammation? Does that mean anything for you?
Yeah, it does because I had a lot of inflammation, and I don't have that near because I could tell on my feet.
Oh,
When you look at your feet, they were puffy. My feet were puffy, and
yeah.
they're not puffy anymore.
Oh,
And I can relate to Mona, the interview you had with Mona,
yeah,
with what she was going through with lipedema, which again is different than what most people know lymphedema. Lymphedema is that excess fluids and stuff, but lipedema is that hard modular fat
yeah.
deposits that you have in certain. And there's like she said, there's certain stages of it, and
Mhm,
I wasn't aware of lipedema until probably 2 years ago. A
mm,
friend of mine, I was complaining about, every time I buy a shirt, I always have to make sure the shirt fits my arms, not my body, because if it can fit my arms, it will fit my body because my arms are the largest pieces of, my upper arms from my
uh-huh,
elbow up is in my mind. I mean, yes, I've always been heavy, but I think it's kind of it's not proportionate
it's
to the rest
proportionate.
of my heaviness.
I think we showed one of the pictures, and I think I noticed that your
Yeah,
upper arm was much
where
bigger
get
than
it
your lower arm, like, by
this way.
yeah, by a good bit, so,
It is. If you
um
look at one of those pictures and because it hangs down this
yeah,
and it's my arms and my thighs. So that is one of the, I've had it for a while. I just assumed
yeah,
I was just not proportionate. You know how everybody has
yeah,
different proportions.
yeah,
I didn't know that it was actually a condition. And so what it is that I've heard that, these GLP-1s can help, reduce some of that. And again, when I was doing a lot of research on it before I started GLP-1,
Mhm.
um, all the research was the only way to get rid of it is liposuction. You know what I mean? You just
Mhm.
have to you lose weight, but then that weight never gets lost because that weight stays because it's like
Yeah.
hard fat modules that doesn't
Yeah.
dissolve. And the
Yeah.
only way to really get rid of them is liposuction. So, I've always had an insecurity about my upper arms. I would always, have like longer sleeves. Like I always have to go
Yeah.
with like unisex shirts or, because women's shirts, their arms are like the sleeves
Tiny.
are like this long.
Yeah.
And it's like, you really you can't cover anything. And,
Yeah. I
I would
I covered my arms for years, yeah.
so that is something that I always told myself if I do any surgery, I think that would be the only surgery I would do. Well, it won't be the only if I can get insurance to cover other things, but I know insurance won't cover that. But that would be the only one I'd probably foot the bill on, just to get
You
my arm.
mentioned that to your doctor at all about your arms?
I haven't. I talked more about my belly,
Mhm.
because my belly is something that I think that the insurance would cover. Now, if I don't have like any rashes that have developed or anything, but at some point in time, I think they're going to get in the way.
Yeah.
And because my arm, I think at one point I took the measurements of my arm like a couple years back,
Mhm.
and it was like the size of a normal person's thigh, and it's just
Mm.
like when I would go to the doctor to get my blood pressure, I'd look at them and laugh. You need a thigh cuff, please, because
Yeah.
you can't use a regular arm cuff on me.
Yeah.
Um,
Barb has a story like that too.
yeah. Yeah. So, but, I mean, obviously it's better now. I mean, there is some regular fat in there that's going away. And, my upper thighs are similar.
Yeah.
Um, but I've never been I don't know, as conscious about my upper thighs as I was about my arms. Just, I guess, because you see them more
You
for
show 'em more. Yeah. No, I totally get the whole arm thing. I Christopher says when I first met him, he never saw me in a tank top. Like, I always wore, um, long sleeves just because I was so self-conscious of my arms. Um, do you do any, exercises? Any, like, things to try to, like,
Yeah,
move
I have
better?
I have bands that I've been doing.
Mhm.
So I have some bands workouts that I've been doing as well as I've got a barbell, little dumbbell thingy.
Yeah.
That's I need to get more different weights because I don't know why I got a 15-pound one, but it's pretty
Oh, that's
heavy.
heavy. That's too heavy.
Exactly. I know, that's what I say. I don't know why I got 2 15-pound ones. I'm like, "What was I thinking?" I'm not quite sure, but
I
I
mean, I
think
was using 10 pounds today at the gym, and I was thinking that's pretty heavy, but, yeah, no.
yeah,
Yeah, it's good to have different sizes. You can just, keep them in your, setup there.
exactly. So, yeah, I told myself that I need to get some more. Also came across the, grips, those the things that you just, like,
Yeah.
with your hand and, I found one that's, adjustable where you
Uh-huh.
can adjust the strength. And funny story about that one is I I ride motorcycles,
Uh-huh.
and I do cross country, I love to do cross country trips, and I've been riding motorcycles since I was, like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
So, that's my most recent motorcycle. That's the motorcycle I have now. I bought that in
Nice.
19 ni or in 2019,
Uh-huh.
and, so I ride cross country. And I was on a ride, not too long ago, and this is my clutch hand. So you pull the clutch back quite a bit to shift,
Okay.
and I was getting a pain, and I'm
Oh,
thinking, am I having a strength issue? Is it carpal tunnel? I just didn't know what it
uh-huh.
was. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna get these grips, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm not gonna have a problem pulling my clutch in
No.
and opening. So I didn't want anything to stop me from, being able to ride, do the things I enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really what kicked off. It seems like whenever I felt my weight was getting into my normal daily happiness,
Mhm.
the daily things that you would like to do. Like,
Yeah.
someone says, let's go on a boat, or, I rented a boat. Let's go on a boat and do this, that, and the other. And then you feel self-conscious and you say no just because of your weight. I've done that several times, and I'm like, "Okay, I don't want my weight to determine what I do anymore." You know what I
Right.
mean? I
Yeah.
that like kicked me into doing something about it, and you know, and that's a very good example. I'd go on these pontoon boats or these little small boats. I'm not talking about these big yachts or any of that,
Yeah.
but I would then be very conscious as to where I sat on the boat because
Oh,
I
just
was the heaviest person on the boat and I needed to be in a central location. So if I was like to one
yeah.
side or the other, the boat would be to one side or the other. And that's just it I don't know. It's just one of those things where you're conscious about everything.
Yeah, you're more super sensitive to it because you just know. I mean, I've been on we live near Lake Norman, and we've been on we don't have a boat. I wish we had a boat, but we've been on friends' boats, and, I mean, even just people of normal weight, you have to distribute so you don't
Right.
so everybody can't sit on the same side, so that's just something, you do with all kinds of people, but to be heavier, you definitely be more conscious of, "Oh, am I gonna mess this up?
Right.
Am I gonna cause a problem if I sit here? Should I ask what to do?" Like, I totally understand that. That
Yeah.
can be, um, a
Yeah, it
thing.
was, I had been on several boats like that where you had to really position me where I needed to be, and then I
Yeah,
got on another friend's boat that was much bigger, so I got on the boat and I'm like, "Okay, where should I sit?" And he's like, "What do you
yeah.
mean?" I said, "Well, I don't." He's like, "Not with
Yeah,
this boat. This boat's
yeah.
big. You can sit wherever you'd like to sit." So it's
Yay!
exactly. So it was just, and I mean, even to this day, yeah, obviously, I mean, it's like I don't like when an elevator comes and the elevator doors open and there's people already on the elevator. I don't like to step on the elevator because I don't know if it's gonna make the elevators go. Vroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, just stupid stuff like that. It's like I'm self-conscious about stepping on an elevator when other people are on it because, I and again, the elevator might not move. I don't know. I have no clue if the elevator moves or not. It's just in my mind. I just
Yeah.
think, you
No,
know
I mean, it's just a million and one things that we think about, as a heavier person that people in thinner bodies never had to think twice about, right? It's just, all that constantly, uh, weighing you down weighing you down
exactly.
all the time. I was thinking about the grip strength
Mhm.
because I did, I trimmed the bushes around our house the other day, and I used, like, a electric trimmer, and my arm, like, the top part of my arm was really sore, and I'm like, "Is this a part of my arm I never use? I wonder if that's, like, part of
Yeah, that
that
is.
grip strength thing that on the top of
Yep.
the lower arm."
That's
Maybe
exactly where yeah.
yard
Right,
work.
and I've never had a problem with it, and even this time I didn't because I mean, I think I was just self-conscious or I was just like, "Uh-oh," thinking my riding days might be over, but
Yeah.
I think it's more I think it was kinda moving more towards carpal tunnel issue 'cause the issue was more here than the strength of this 'cause
Oh,
I had
okay.
no problem pulling it back and holding it back, and,
Yeah.
for the most part, I mean and I even have my clutch is a hydraulic clutch, so it makes it a little bit easier, but, it I didn't have a problem, it was just there was a little bit of pain coming down here, so
Mhm.
I just got worried, I'm like, "I'm gonna get some grip strength
Yeah.
principle for, nothing happens," because I wanna be able to ride my motorcycle cross country, so,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Did you have any side effects? I know you rode cross country. Have you gone cross country on this medication, and did that limit anything?
I have not. I started this medication in August 1st, so I've not done a
Okay.
cross country trip yet. Now, my next vacation coming up is a cruise to Alaska.
Ooh, nice.
So that's in July.
Mhm,
So I think at that point I'll either go to one dose for the week. Well, I
mhm.
know I can always bring it with me. I mean, I can bring the dose because I know we've got the travel stuff. Um, I'll probably decide at that point because that we fly out on a Thursday, come back the cruises out on a Friday, and then we come back on a Friday, and then we fly back home on a Saturday, so, there'll be at least 2 doses, the dose that, the Sunday dose and the Wednesday dose.
Yeah,
But yes, so I've not done that yet because my previous vacations were prior to August 1st of last year.
gotcha.
My last cross country trip, I live in Florida, so I went from Florida to, I think the furthest west I went was Arizona.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
think I oh, no, I dipped into California. I did dip
Oh,
into California.
that's a
So,
long way on a motorcycle.
yeah,
It's a
I
long way in
just
a car.
I love
Yeah,
traveling. I mean, our country is so beautiful,
yeah.
and to see it on the back of a motorcycle, smell the small town America and all the
Mm,
different industries in each little city, it's just kinda
mhm.
cool. It's kinda cool to ride through and see.
Yeah, yeah,
But
awesome.
yeah, so I enjoy doing that, and so far, I mean, my weight hasn't given me a problem doing it. I mean, I because I'm sedentary for most of my day, I could sit on the motorcycle and ride all day long,
Yeah. Oh, here
but,
comes Ginger. It's
Ginger
JoJo.
Jojo wants to
JoJo.
make a cameo appearance.
Yeah. Yeah, she always did you have any, like, side effects, any gastric problems at all?
I didn't, I think I was proactive with the magnesium. I don't take Mag-O-7, I take, Bio Optimizer, I think, the one that
Okay.
that Elizabeth, Countess Shopping, the one she that
Uh-huh.
'cause I saw her, a lot of her videos at the beginning as well, and they talked a lot about that, so I started taking I wanted to just kind of, um potentially be on top of it. So I started taking the magnesium pills, the biooptimizers, um, early on. So now I used to take them daily. I don't take them daily. I now take them twice a week.
Okay.
So but I didn't I one time I experienced a little bit of nausea, but not throwing up. And what I
Mhm.
seem to be experiencing now, along with my weird disinterest in food, and I guess it's not really I mean, it's disinterested in food. I guess it's expected given the drug we're on.
Yeah.
Um, but, is I find that when I'm brushing my teeth, I have, like, a gag reflex now, that I
Hmm.
didn't have before. So it's not like I'm nauseous, it's just all of a sudden it's like, "Eh," you have that gag, and it's like, "That's never happened to me before." I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe, maybe that'll go away if I drop the dose a bit, but anything I've
Hmm.
not experienced, any, real diarrhea symptoms, any real constipation symptoms because
Yeah.
I've been on top of it, and then nausea, no issues there. I have not really seen I let my hairdresser know, said, "Hey, by the way," obviously didn't have to say much because you could see my weight loss, but, like, "If you're seeing a little less hair there, let me know because and she's like, "No, your hair's looking good."
Oh,
So,
good, yeah. Yeah, so
everything
no really hair loss or anything like that, that's good.
yeah, yeah, so that's good. I went
Okay.
to, the vet today. My dog, I needed to get some prescriptions for him because he's having a little bit of diarrhea issues,
Mm.
not related to GLP. But, so I went to the vet today to pick up some, medication for him, and I hadn't been to the vet I think the last time I was there was either November or December of last year.
Mhm.
And, the vet tech there, I don't think she recognized me at first because she's
Oh,
like, "Who are you? What are you here for?" I'm like, "Beans, I'm here to get a thing." Because "Oh, Beans Crumpler, yeah, yeah." She comes back, she's like, "I've gotta tell you, you look so good."
aw,
You look I could see, "Are you what are you doing? Well, or what have you been doing?" Are
yeah.
you watching your food? What are you doing? And, I told her I'd lost 88 pounds, and she's like, "Oh, I could really see it." I said, "I focus a lot on protein," but, I let her know that I was on the GLP-1 and all that other
Mhm.
stuff. She's doing the high protein diet. I mean, she had recently lost, yeah, 50 or some odd pounds.
Oh, wow.
But this is the first time kinda like out of the blue, somebody has said something to me
Yeah,
about, and this is somebody I surely wouldn't have expected because it's not like I go to the vet very frequently.
yeah,
Obviously, she remembered me from before,
yeah.
and, it was nice. It was a nice compliment, so
Well, I guess when you're working from home, you don't really have, a lot of interactions with people maybe on a video call or something, but, oh, that's nice that she knows. So you're telling people about your GLP-1
yeah.
use.
Everybody in my family, I mean, people who know me know that I'm on the GLP-1. You have the normal folks that still believe eat less, move more, is the way to do it. Um, but I believe, in some of the conversations, I'm equating that to other medications that they're taking. And it's like, okay, well, you're on cholesterol, so eat better and stop taking your cholesterol medicine.
Yeah,
Exercise more and stop taking your cholesterol medicine. You know what I mean? So when I
yeah,
relate it to that, they come back and think, that makes a
Hmm.
whole lot of sense, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's really getting people to understand that obesity is a chronic disease and these medications treat this chronic disease, right? So it's we're hammering away at it. We're getting
right,
that message out there little by little. It's just gonna take some more time, but that's good. I'm glad you're telling people about it. Um, let's see. Are there any tips that you would wanna tell somebody who's thinking about starting this journey or maybe they just started? Anything you think they should know?
you know, research. I research. I mean, I read, and people probably think I over research, but I mean, if it's a matter of, needing to change my air filter, I'll research which is the best one. And I mean, I
Yeah.
research a lot. I really do. And I guess because I like to be knowledgeable
Mhm.
and I like to really understand the things I'm getting myself into or the things that I'm purchasing in general.
Yeah.
Um, and so what I did is initially, when I was talking to my doctor about my weight, she initially said, "How about Wegovy?" And that was earlier on,
Mhm.
probably like a year before I started this. Um, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it, let me do some research, but, if this is what you're recommending." So I went home, did some research, and I'm like, "Okay, it sounds like something that I wanna do." But at that point, everything was in a shortage.
Mhm.
Everything. I couldn't get it. No dose of Wegovy could I get. So I
Yeah.
just threw my hands up. And then when I talked to her again, she said, "Well, this new one, I like this one better.
Oh,
Try this one." And it was Zepbound. And again, I walked away, did some research because Zepbound's like a stupid name. It's like,
right?
Zepbound? Where did they come up with
Where do they
this
come up with these
Zepbound?
names? Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm like, "Okay, if you think it is, let me do some research." And again, I did some research. So, um, and I really once the more I did some research, the more I started seeing people's stories. And when I was seeing these folks that were heavy like me, 300,
Mhm.
400, pounds, and
Mhm.
they had lost, 150, 200 pounds. And I'm like, this is really life-changing for people. I mean,
Yeah.
truly life-changing, and the more I started researching it, the more I started, finding folks like y'all guys on YouTube, the more
Mhm.
I was like, "You know what? I think this is the direction I wanna go. I think I wanna do it." So, um, it's really researching it and know your everybody you have to know if you're willing to do what it takes to do it. It's not just taking the medicine and
Yeah.
going and just happily going on with everything you're doing in life. You really have to make some changes. I was talking to my friend this weekend and she's like, "Tina, I've seen all the changes you've made." Because I have other friends that are taking y the semaglutide compound and
Mhm.
others that are taking the tirzepatide as well. And, they started before me, like, a couple weeks before me, and they're not as far along as I am. They didn't change their eating habits. They didn't change they didn't change a lot of their lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
I'm not
It
gonna sit
definitely
there and
makes a
eat,
difference.
yeah, 2 Reese cups and a bag of Starburst while I'm at the movie theater and be okay with it. I I focus my health on healthy foods, and am I gonna have a bite of a piece of cake? I'll have a bite of a piece of cake. I'm not
Mhm.
saying no to a piece of cake. I might say no to a piece of cake, but
Right.
I will taste the cake. You know what I mean? Just because I can't there's not a whole lot, like, we were this weekend was playing dominoes with some friends, and they made these chocolate, croissants that
Ooh.
were ridiculously good. Um, so I said, we were cutting them in half, and I'm like, "Give me a half of a half," and even that, I only took 3 bites of it, and I just again, not interested again. It was very good, but after about 3 bites of it, I was like, "Okay, I'm not interested." So, but it was good, but I
Yeah.
find it okay given what I'm eating, and, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, I think your results really, speak to that you've made, these changes, so, but yeah, that medicine is definitely working if you chocolate croissant, I don't know. Sometimes I tend to out-eat my medicine, but I've been on it a little bit longer, so, yeah, I don't know, I hope you can dial in your dose and maybe, adjust that a little bit because you definitely wanna you wanna be able to enjoy your meal, right? You wanna be
Right.
able to enjoy your food. So that's just gonna take a little tweaking, but I'm sure you'll find it.
It will, and that's why I'm conscious about it because I try to be very conscious about all the changes that are happening to me, and I'm like, "How can I better this?" Because, yes, I would like to lose the weight. I'd like to be as fast as I can where I'm at, but that's not always the healthiest way to do it.
Yeah.
And I want eating is such a social event,
Mhm.
that you want to be in that social event, but not stick out because everybody else is eating and you've stopped, you know?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
my mom, was at dinner with me on Sunday, me and my friend and my mom, and I took a couple bites and I was like, no, I was full. And she's like, oh, you could hardly eat anything anymore. It kind of then changes, the conversation in the dinner, while we're having dinner, it's now focused on me and why I'm not hungry anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I
So,
mean, ask for a box, yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, and your mom should, like, I mean, she saw you on the gastric sleeve process. I mean, she kinda, I mean, I'm sure she
oh,
knew.
she's 100% on board.
Yeah.
She just said, "You hardly eat anything. You eat like a bird now." She just makes that kind, but she's not saying it from a negative perspective. I mean,
Right.
she
She
was just,
just out of
yeah,
concern and, care, which,
yeah,
that's what moms do.
right.
So, yeah, I mean, she sees your progress, so I'm sure she's pleased with that.
Oh, yeah, she's very, very pleased. I mean, every time she sees me, she's like, "Oh, you look so good," and, so, I mean, everybody's supportive. I don't think I have anybody in my circle that's not supportive, um, and I think I've been able to, kind of change the thought process of those that were in that, eat less, move more mentality. I mean, I still believe they're in that eat less, move more mentality, but
Mhm.
when I've talked with them, because even in the past when I had my surgery, you know, uh, they although they were supportive of the surgery, I still felt that they were in the, was it really necessary? Did you have to go that extreme and stuff like that? I mean, I didn't say those things, but kind of that's how I felt that, that's what they were thinking and based
Yeah.
on kind of the reactions and stuff. But we see a lot of people that are very active. They're cyclists, bicyclists, they're very active in the workout community and all of a sudden, they might or just not even all of a sudden, they are on blood pressure medicine or they're on high cholesterol medicine. No matter what they do, they can't get out of it because
Yeah.
it's genetics. And
Genetic.
that's what I was trying to impress in them. Here, one of my friends, yeah, my friend's father I grew up with. I have friends that I've grown up with since I was in 6th grade, and I'm part of their family. I feel like they call me their adopted daughter. So and he's one of the ones that are at the eat less, move more movement. And, but he's on all these he's very healthy. I mean, was doing bicycling 20, 30, 40 miles a day, all this other stuff, but he's on cholesterol, blood pressure, and all this other medicine. And it's like, it's genetic. There are sometimes things are just genetic, and these are just your body doesn't process things the way other people's body processes them. So I think
Yeah.
I've been able to kind of talk through that based on that type of conversation.
Yeah,
But
it's so hard to explain to a person who is naturally, slimmer and has never heard food noise. It's just very hard to explain, because we're just coming to understand it ourselves, right? I never knew
right,
food noise. I thought that's how everybody thought. Like, I didn't know it was different than anything. So uh, it's just a hard concept to get across sometimes, but I'm
right.
glad that you're making progress. So,
Yeah, I am talking about food noise. That is if you tell me what is the one thing that you just think has helped a lot, it's the food noise, I think. I would have to say that's a pretty close number one. I mean, obviously getting full quick. Um, but food noise, I think to me has been so beneficial because there was a day where I'd go to the grocery store, come home from the grocery store, put all my groceries away. I'm sitting there watching TV, bored, and I'm like, okay, I've got chips, I've got ice cream, I've got cookies, I've got okay, which one of these am I going to eat first?
it's the list in your head, just the
Right.
running list, yeah,
It's not which one am I going to eat? Which one am I going to eat first?
first, right?
Because I'm
Because
going
you
to
got
go
all
through
these
that list.
choices now. Yeah,
I will go through the cookie. I'll have a cookie. I mean, I might not eat all. I'll have a cookie. I'll have some ice cream, I'll have some chips, I'll have some, and it's like, now it's like, I can't even tell you what's in my refrigerator half the time because I just don't even think of, I mean, I don't even, I forget that I have food in my refrigerator. I forget
Yeah.
what's in my pantry.
Right,
You
I've done that too. I open the freezer, I'm like, "Oh, there's ice cream in here. I totally forgot it was in." That's, like, never happened
It's a
before, so
nice feeling.
yeah,
It really is.
and, I've said that must be how because we have some thin friends who keep candy in their pantry at all times of the year, big bags of candy, and I go over there all the time, and I'm like, "How do you keep this candy in your" they're like, "Oh, we don't even, like, think about it." And I'm like, "How do you not" that's how they don't think about it, they don't have food noise, so
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize you were losing so great, like, that's amazing, like, by the time you get to a year, you'll be well over 100 pounds down, hopefully, right? So
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean, looking at the progression, if it stays that way, and the ironic thing is last week, and I don't know where this came from. I mean, literally this last week,
mhm.
5.2 pounds I lost in 1 week, and
Oh,
that was just crazy.
well,
Like,
you're not eating. That's 'cause
well,
you're only eating 5 bites of food. Yeah.
for the last 4 weeks, it's been the average for that month was 10.4 pounds I lost that month. So, and on average, my months have been, I mean, that's one of my highest months. It's been averaging, 8.2, 9.4. I did have no, actually, I had a 12.2 month.
Oh,
Um, 4 months into it, 4 months into,
mhm.
I had a 12.2 month. But yeah, so yeah, it's it's I've been, it's enough to where I think I feel more comfortable just going down just a notch.
Yeah, and,
You know?
also, I was just thinking about this, you could maybe just go to a once weekly dose now.
I was
I mean,
debating on
that's
that.
another option. That's
I
another
was
option.
thinking of that actually, instead of
Because if
splitting it because I know
you're
I
getting that everyday suppression. So if you took your shot on Thursday, 5 days in, what is that, like Monday, your appetite might come back. It might be a little bit easier to eat
yeah,
more calories and then less on the weekend and then pick it up on the you know what I mean? Just to keep
kinda
your
cycle
body
back.
guessing and give it enough, calorie I don't know, just I'm not a doctor.
That's okay, neither am I, but
Right?
no, I was it's funny you say that because I was thinking the same thing. Because I thought I could either just go back down to 1 time a week and
Yeah,
see how that goes, and then or I could just dose down and see how that
yeah.
goes. I have everything on Shotzi as well, so
Oh,
Shotzi
cool.
shows me where my peak is,
Yeah,
and it's cool to see that. So you
yeah,
can kinda see when it's in your system and when it's not. So,
yeah,
or as it kind of dips down into
yeah,
a lower dose. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. So that is another option. So I might try that. I might try that before I titrate. Down just a little, you know?
yeah,
We'll see.
yeah,
So,
okay.
but yeah.
Well, you're doing great.
Well, thank you very much. I'm excited. I really am because I can't say this enough. And I know I said this earlier on is, the videos you guys provided at the very, very beginning when I first started looking at it, it really truly helped me have some sort of hope that this
Mm.
was gonna work for me. You know what I mean?
Aw,
Because
yeah,
I really didn't have that hope. I really didn't. I said, in my mind, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. You know what I mean? Because I've struggled
yeah,
with this, for a good portion of my life, and it's been something that I just didn't want to get excited about because I felt I was going to fail again. I was just going to have that failure
yep,
again.
yep,
So
no, I get it, you and it's even hard to believe as you see the weight coming off, right? You're like, "Is this gonna stop working at some point?" Like, "This is am I gonna wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna gain 20 pounds overnight?" Well, no, you know what I mean? Like, it's working, it's science,
yeah.
um, and it's fantastic, right? So
Right. I can't
yeah.
wait till I get below the 204 because that's the lowest. Because when I had my surgery, I got to 204 and
Yeah,
lost focus. I didn't even never hit Wonderland, so
ah,
I'm 4 pounds away. Never hit Wonderland. I just,
yeah.
just,
And what are
you
you
know,
now, like, 218,
218.
218? Yeah, I mean,
I
oh,
know,
yeah,
218.
yeah,
So
you're well on your way, so
I
that's
mean,
awesome.
I really am. I'm excited. I was excited to get to 225 when I got to 225. Ooh, 225. That's a good number. Then
Yeah.
now I'm going through 20, and, so I just kind of when I get to the 210s, so you can get it, I just kind of I get excited, and I have to be, and I guess I don't have to be. I'm glad
No,
that I
it
can be.
it's exciting. I totally get it. Like, every time you go down that 10-pound increment, you're like, "Ooh, I see a new number I've never seen before." It's just
Right.
it's very motivating, so
It is, and I'm glad like I said, I'm glad that I can be, and I'm no longer saying this is not this isn't gonna happen. I doubt, I'm no longer that doubting Thomas that's not
right.
gonna it's not gonna happen, it's not gonna happen, it's not gonna happen. And and I could actually see it potentially, I could see it happening. I feel I'm going to get there,
Yeah.
versus it'll never happen.
No,
So
you're totally gonna get there. I
yeah,
mean, if you are basically a super responder, so, you're definitely gonna get there, so
yeah.
just keep it up, you're doing great. Yeah,
So
so well, thank you, Tina. This has been a great conversation. I appreciate you taking time today to talk with us. If you're watching out there, I hope you will like and subscribe to our channel, The Downsized. And if you'd like to come and be on The Downsized Dish with me and have an interview, send me an email to Laraine@thedownsized.org. I'll send you a link to our calendar and just we'll get you set up. It's all that easy. It's just that easy. I can't say it easily, but it is that easy. We have a Downsides live show most Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we hope you will join us for that and check out our website at thedownsized.org. You can see everything we're doing there. You can see a link to our Amazon store. We're Amazon affiliates, so we make a small commission on those purchases. But I've got products that I like that have helped me on this journey, so you can check them out. You can join our email list, and I don't know, there's other stuff on there I forget. I'm gonna go check it out. Well, thanks, Tina. I
thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much. Thank you
Yeah,
for having me.
and
This is fun.
Tina's a big supporter of our lives and our videos, so I appreciate her coming on today. But thanks out there, and we'll see you next time on The Downsized.
Thanks.